Saleh Hijazi is Amnesty International's Deputy Director for the Middle East and North Africa. Saleh, thank you so much indeed for joining us. What is Amnesty International's view of what's happening?
Well, our view, first of all, we're very concerned, but the message we're trying to put across is that we are seeing this pattern of violations of international law and human rights continue because of a cycle of impunity. And we hope that with now the International Criminal Court has opened an investigation into the situation of the occupied Palestinian territories, looking at violations since June 2014, encompassing the military operation in Gaza that year and everything that happened between until today, would basically usher in a new chapter whereby international law and human rights are front and center when it comes to how things happen on the ground and how the international community deals with the situation in Israel and the occupied Palestinian territories.
Saleh, you used the word hope. I mean, in terms of the reality of the world we live in, why do you think anything would change now when previously Israel has acted with impunity? I mean, you're talking about that ICC investigation looking back at events that go as far back as 2014. Already, Benjamin Netanyahu has said the ICC is anti-Semitic and Israel's not going to cooperate with that investigation.
Well, you're certainly right. The situation is very bleak, but a new development with the ICC opening investigation should and need to give us hope. It is a historic opportunity. It is a historic step. And the ICC is part of the international order whereby Western powers, democratic powers, who have human rights and international law front and center when it comes to their local and foreign policy, must support the ICC. Just because it's a new development, just because it's so crucial to have international justice be central, core to what is happening in Israel and OPT, this is why we have hope that this may change.
Saleh, what do you think the most critical element might be to get Israel to change its attitude towards the Palestinians? If, as we've been discussing over the past week or so, with people in occupied territories in Gaza, this might be an opportunity to develop a new kind of understanding of that relationship between the state of Israel and Palestinians. But what might the critical outside element be that could persuade Israel to do something a bit different?
I think what is really crucial is recognizing the situation as it is, a situation of institutionalized discrimination and systematic violations and oppression against the Palestinians. And Palestinians themselves have now, I mean, what we're seeing happen on the ground is unprecedented. It's very significant, seeing Palestinians rise up against the system of oppression from the north of Israel, across the occupied Palestinian territories, and all the way now to Beersheba in the Naqab Desert. This is very important. There's a very clear message coming out from Palestinians saying that we've had enough, we're standing up, we need the world to stand by our side. And we're already seeing some change. We're seeing some change in the US Congress, with many Congress members coming out and addressing the situation as it is, some of them using the word apartheid to describe the situation. Similar, and you've seen also on a kind of a grassroots level, the mass demonstrations that happen in Western capitals across the world. So this is very significant. It is important that we must capitalize on what is happening. Crucial to this is to address the root causes. The root causes are the system of institutionalized discrimination that Israel imposes against Palestinians. These are reflected in the illegal Israeli settlements in the occupied West Bank, including East Jerusalem, and the illegal blockade amounting to collective punishment in the Gaza Strip. The system of oppression and the daily human rights violations, you know, the freedom of movement, freedom of expression. We've seen how Israel has targeted the building with two very prominent media organizations, Al Jazeera and Associated Press there. This follows a pattern of trying to silence those who are trying to report on developments and on the violations that happen on a daily basis. So, and this touches on these root causes. This is a time to address these root causes. The ICC is part of that, but the international community also needs to stand up to its own values and principles and really hold Israel accountable when it comes to what it's doing to the Palestinians on a daily basis.
Saleh Hijazi from Amnesty International, thank you so much indeed for joining us on TRT World.